This video will show you how to replace the washer fluid reservoir on a Mitsubishi Lancer. This will be located along the passenger side of your engine compartment. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. To remove the front bumper cover, we're going to make our way safely under the front of the vehicle. We're under the front corner of the vehicle, and we can see where our bumper cover and our lower splash shield meet. Now on the bumper cover itself, you can see several pieces of hardware. We're not actually removing these mounting bolts. Let's focus on the hardware holding the splash shield in place. We have some push clips. As far as these push clips, I'm using a trim tool to remove them. I have all those push clips out. We do have the same push clips on the other side. Let's continue on with our mounting bolts first. For these mounting bolts, they've been replaced. I'm using an 8mm. They're typically 10mm headed mounting bolts. And now we have our push clips all the way over on the corner. We'll just remove those. All right, we've got that separated. Now we're going to make our way inside of each one of our front wheel wells. Now up inside each one of our wheel wells, we're going to find that we have push clips holding the bumper cover to our inside fender liner. We just want to dislodge it. Now this is looking good. As you continue all the way up to the upper corner where it connects to your front fender, you're going to find that you have a 10mm headed bolt facing straight up and down. We'll remove that as well. Now we can take hold of the edge of the bumper cover here, and we're going to carefully start pulling it away from our front fender. We want to be aware of the fact that you gently have to pull down at the same time as you pull away. There we are. Once you've completed this on one side of the vehicle, go over to the other side of the vehicle, do the exact same process, and then you're up inside the engine compartment. After dislodging both corners of the front bumper cover, we're back under the hood, as I mentioned. In this area across the front, we have to remove the forward plastic panel. To do that, we want to remove the air inlet tube that leads to the air filter box first. We'll be starting across the front of it. You should find that you have two plastic push clips. One of ours is missing. I'm just going to go ahead and pry out the one that I do have there. Now we can take hold of this. We're going to gently lift it up and pull it away from the air filter housing. Should slide out of place fairly easily. A quick inspection will set it aside. As far as the plastic panel is concerned, there are several locating tabs making their way across the front, sliding into the front bumper cover. We don't need to deal with those yet. We're going to be focusing on our push clips holding it down. There's that one. We're making our way across. We're in the center. For this one, it's down in this area. I'm going to be using a small angled pick. Just carefully pull up on the center and remove it. There's one portion. Now, since that did come apart, I'm just going to go ahead and reset it. It's in the unlocked position. Let's get our last push clip out of position. All right. Now we can take hold of that panel. We're going to lift up along the backside, pull it away along the front. Now here's where I can show you those locating tabs that go across the front there. Just make sure they're in good usable order. We'll set this aside. We have the panel off, and now we're looking down along the center. Just underneath our hood latch is where we can see we have an electrical connector with a wiring harness. We have to disconnect the electrical connector. It has a small locking tab on the driver's side of the connector here. I'm going to squeeze it in and we'll dislodge it. Once you have it dislodged, just a quick inspection for corrosion. That looks okay. And we can see our locking tab there. That's what I was squeezing on. Just above that area, we can see our bumper cover center bracket. We'll remove our 10mm headed mounting bolt from here. Now, I've used some penetrant on this mounting bolt. It's common for this bolt right here to break. Let's see if we can work it back and forth to remove it. Does have some movement. There we are. As I mentioned, it does break. That's okay, we have several other mounting bolts that are holding this in place. Let's continue on to those. The mounting bolts that we'll be removing make their way across the front here. You're going to find that you have 4 10mm headed mounting bolts. As you can see, one of ours has previously been broken. Let's remove the ones that are in place. And there should be one here, as I mentioned. Now it's pretty loose. We still have 2 more mounting bolts to gain access to. These are protected by these 2 plastic covers in the lower grille assembly. I'm just going to use a small pocket screwdriver to gain access to the mounting bolt located behind it. Just give that a quick inspection. Get our bolt right in here. There's that bolt. Let's do the same to the other. We'll make sure we're holding onto the front bumper cover, pressing it towards the vehicle as we continue on with this last mounting bolt. We can give this a wiggle and remove it from the vehicle. Just a quick inspection of that bumper cover and we'll set it aside. We have the bumper cover out of the way and we have a clear view of the lower portion of our washer fluid reservoir. This is where we're going to start. If you have any fluid inside of the reservoir, of course you want to go ahead and drain that out. You can reuse it, assuming it's not contaminated in any way. Either way, we want to make sure we have a collection receptacle under this area so we can collect and either reuse or recycle the fluid properly. We'll dislodge our hose. Fluid's typically going to come out of this pump area. Now at this point, we're going to let this drain so it makes less of a mess as we continue on. Now that we have that washer fluid reservoir drained, we're making our way up along the top into the engine compartment. Up inside the engine compartment, we can see where our washer fluid cap is. It's attached to our inlet tube leading all the way down to our washer fluid tank. We're going to remove the inlet tube. This is held in place with a 10mm bolt. We'll remove the bolt. Now we should be able to take hold of this. We're going to give it a wiggle. On the washer fluid reservoir itself, it has a rubber grommet that this slides down and into, so you're going to have to lightly tug it up and away. This is just the upper portion. We also want the lower portion of this. There we are. Now we're pausing in the engine compartment. We're looking back down along where the washer fluid pump is. We dislodge the hose, but let's also make sure we dislodge it from its mounting point on the washer fluid reservoir as well. We'll just give it a quick inspection. You can replace it as necessary. This looks fine, so I'm going to set it aside. We're continuing with our electrical connector and wiring harness next. This does have a locking tab. It's easiest to disconnect if you carefully use a small prying device. I'm just using a small screwdriver. A quick inspection for corrosion, of course, and we're making our way up to the next mounting point. Now for this, if you were looking along the rearward side of the washer fluid reservoir, there's 2 locking tabs on this mounting point. So I'm just going to squeeze them in using some long nose pliers, and I'll use my trim tool to pry it out of place. You can see those locking tabs. Now we're going to make our way deep inside this area, along the back side of the reservoir, but in front of our fender liner. We'll be using a 12mm for the mounting hardware for this. We'll make our way towards the front. We have one here and one directly along the top of this. Now these are the last things holding this in place. Just keep that in mind. We're holding onto the reservoir as we remove our final mounting bolt. Should be able to slide this out of place. There it is, friend. Prior to installation of any brand new part, let's make sure we clean and inspect our mounting areas. Just want to make sure nothing's rotted, weak, or damaged. Now it's time for installation of the brand new washer fluid reservoir. Let's start with the lower portion first. Now let's start our installation with the lower portion of the reservoir. There's one area that we want to focus on here, and that's this one locating tab with the hooked end. That's going to slide into this port here. Once we have it aligned, we'll continue on with our hardware. Let's get this one in over here. Just go ahead and start them in, but leave them loose until they're all started in. After that, you can go ahead and snug them up. We'll make sure that's secured in place, and we're continuing on with our electrical connector and wiring harness next. We'll make sure we secure it into that washer fluid reservoir here. Just presses right in. Reconnect the washer pump. Audible click from that, a light tug. We have our washer fluid hose next. Press that onto the washer fluid pump. We'll just double check to make sure it's secured. If it feels like it's loose, you could try trimming the end of the hose, or you could use a wire tie, whatever's easiest for you. Now we'll just secure it into its mounting point right along here. This is looking good. Prior to installation of the upper portion of that reservoir, of course, we're going to clean that mounting area as well. And now we can install that upper portion. The very end of it here needs to slide down into the rubber grommet, which is attached along the top of that reservoir that we just installed. We're lining it up, we're pressing it straight down as far as possible. Use the neck of this to press it into position. Now I have that pressed in as far as possible. We have our 10mm bolt. We'll start it in and snug it up, of course. Just make sure it's secured. Okay, let's prepare to install our front bumper cover. As we bring this into position, we're being aware of all sides of the bumper cover. We're paying attention along the top as well. This is where we're going to start in our mounting hardware. There should be one here. Ours is missing. There should also be a mounting bolt down in this area. Once again, ours is broken. So we're going to continue on by making sure that this bracket is up in the proper positioning. Install the bolts, assuming it's there, and then we're just going to tighten all this hardware. That's the hardware that we have available. Now, while I'm still up in this area, let's make sure we reconnect our electrical connector. Let's see if we can get this connected in. Line it up. Listen for an audible click. Make sure it's secured in place. After you're done in the top center, we're making our way down along each side of the vehicle. We have to make sure the bumper cover is aligned with the bottom of the headlamp and the fender. It's going to go up along the top of this plastic bracket and all the way over to this corner point. Once we have everything in place properly, we have our 10mm headed bolt that makes its way up through this area. As you remember here, we have to gently pull down so we can slide it into the proper placement. Just a couple light taps if needed. Let's get that bolt in place. Let's get our bolt up in there. We'll just make sure we're seated before we continue on inside the wheel well with our 2 push clips making our way down. After we've completed that, we have to do the exact same thing on the other side of the vehicle. We can see our 2 push pin ports. As far as those push pins, we're driving in the outer portion and then locking them in with the center. We'll just double check to make sure that's secured. As I mentioned, go over to the other side of the vehicle, repeat this exact same process, then you're making your way under the front of the vehicle. I've completed the other side. Now I'm underneath the corner of the bumper cover. We have 4 push clips making their way over here. Then we have several mounting bolts along the center, and on the other side, more push clips. Let's install our mounting bolts across, and then I'm going to go ahead and repeat the process for the push clips on the opposite corner. I'm just going to start in these mounting bolts before tightening any of them. All right, we got them started in. Now it's time for our protective caps. If you were looking at either edge of the protective cap, you're going to find that they're a little different. One side, on the outer portion, has a locating tab. The other side has the locking tab. We'll start bringing this into the proper position and lock it in on the center edge here. Got our next one. Just double check to make sure that's secured in place, and now we can make our way up under the hood. Now under the hood, we have our plastic panel. Along the front of the panel, we have those locating tabs that I showed you before. We're going to start bringing this down into the proper position. We'll slide it forward, aligning the locating tabs. Once you have that properly aligned, you should also find that your push pin ports are aligned as well. You're going to have 4 of them making their way across this to be installed. Let's get this one in this area. Just make sure that this is secured. We'll continue on with our air inlet tube next. As far as this tube, it's going to slide into the air filter housing. Line it up, slide it in there. Now we'll pivot the front down. We're aligning our push pin ports. As you know, our vehicle had 1 push pin. There should be 2. The other one goes in this port here. Open our reservoir cap and top it off with our preferred washer fluid. Once you've filled it, go ahead and close that cap. Okay, so we finished our installation. The last thing you want to do is go ahead and close the hood and then test the functionality of your washer pump. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.